Hello, everyone, and welcome to Everything Iconic with me, Danny Pellegrino. It's a holiday week. We have two special guests who just wrote a book. It's an audiobook that I just found out you can listen to on Spotify. I have a Spotify account, and I didn't know that was included, but it's called The Art of Small Talk. Friend of the pod, Casey Wilson, and Jessica St. Clair, who I've loved forever. How are you both doing today?
Oh I'm wonderful. I'm so excited to be here with you.
You know what, Danny, on our podcast, The Deep Dive that I have with June Diane Raphael, we refer to you as a human Diet Coke.
I love you.
Just refreshing.
Except you don't cause cancer, Danny.
You don't cause cancer, but you keep
cure all ills.
You keep us thin and you're sparkly and you're effervescent.
Yeah.
And you're refreshing.
See, to me, you're a full fat Coke because you're just a little
naughty
trifle, a little naughty. Yeah.
Well, I've shared
Sugary
this on
and sweet.
I've shared this on the podcast before, but I do have a theory about girls and women and gay men who drink Diet Coke. Like, I think those types of people are just naturally more fun people because there is something about like you're hanging on by a thread and you're trying to do something. You're trying to make a little bit better of a change, but like you can't go all the way. Like you can't get rid of the soda.
But Danny, what about gals who do the real thing? We're the real fun ones.
We don't give
a fuck.
No. Casey and I were together at 8 p.m. last night, pounding shorty Cokes. Like it wasn't enough to have one. I had to have two before we got on
Okay,
stage.
wait, what's your signs? What are your signs?
Scorpio.
Virgo, Aquarius rising. Okay. Very important. I'm not a Virgo in any other way except for
I've never seen less of a Virgo in that they have attention to details.
I always act like I know, but it does feel, I don't really know much about astrology, but it does feel right to me, a Scorpio liking full Coke, because there is something like a little bit like, I don't know, going, it doesn't make sense.
We go too far. We're in extremes. Is there something almost aggressive about an actress drinking a full fat Coke?
Oh,
I'm the only one in Hollywood that does it.
You're not. Clear. Guess who else does? Lennon Parham.
Okay.
She treats herself to a mini Snickers, and a full fat Coke is her afternoon treat.
Tell me the craziest thing you've clocked. I mean, you mentioned Lennon, but what's the craziest thing you've clocked on set of someone eating at a craft service table?
I mean, I'm clocking myself. Just yesterday, I was on set on this show based on a true story, and I found myself eating several. When I tell you I don't eat this, I don't even know this was something. Shortbread cookies with raspberry in the middle, like gigantic ones. Why? I mean, I was grabbing anything I could get my little paws and mitts on.
Okay, Casey, I have actually a theory about why you chose that, because we're in sort of like a grandma phase right now. I was just talking to a friend about this. I don't know if you've been following McDonald's, just released a grandma flavored McFlurry.
What the fuck is that?
The fuck?
I know.
And when can I get it?
I think it's maybe, I don't know if it's out now or coming soon or whatever, but it's something like maybe toffee or butterscotch or something, but they're calling it grandma.
That's crazy.
Well, look at my background, Danny, is very grandma.
We're in a grandma era. And I personally just ordered Archway cookies off the internet. Archway cookies. Do you remember those? Those are grandma cookies,
they're
right?
They're like a Lorna Doone. They're they're like a cousin of a Lorna Doone shortbread.
Now, Jess, I have to ask you, this is like 3 men and a baby behind you. Are there people that have there's figures moving about? Again, this is being filmed.
Hair and makeup is
It looks like, when in 3 Men and a Baby, that little is it like a boy, the ghost boy? Is it a crew member?
Boy?
Did we ever find out if that was a ghost or just Steve Gutenberg?
We did find out it was simply a crew member leaning up against the wall. And instead we were like, it's a little boy who's plunging.
Remember the even darker one from Wizard of Oz where they thought somebody had hung themselves with in the
trigger warning there.
That was, I know, trigger warning, but that was really, I watched that on repeat.
There was also a Little Mermaid thing where I think on the cover of the box, there was a penis, but that was real. There was a penis.
Real. Someone did that to have some haws. And to them, I say hats off. Yeah, I did have some haws.
We tip our hat to you.
I do tip my little tiny hat to you.
Okay, wait, just going back though, is there anything crazy you've clocked of another celebrity? Casey, last time we talked, I got you in trouble with Santa Claus and Tim Allen.
Oh, Danny, I forgot about that.
I don't want to get you in trouble.
How dare you? I won't be speaking on that anymore. I said some words I regretted on my podcast. Bitch Dash and Danny, I blame you fully. You drew it out of me.
We were in the middle.
I'm so comfortable with you, Danny, that I felt I could say words.
That was shocking, though, because that was
in the opposite order, which was bitch and little, about someone in our industry. Then I regret it.
And it was behind a paywall, and it wasn't
Thank
even
you, Danny.
publicly released. It was like, on your,
there was a
behind a
little
paywall.
river rat in our midst, and it got out there.
But
I'm not altogether sure it wasn't you, Danny.
If the Santa Claus franchise somehow comes to an end, I do believe it might be my fault. Anyway, moving on.
You shut your mouth. No, but Casey and I were in the middle of writing our audiobook. In the middle of writing it, and we both have ADHD, so if you can imagine that process, it was wild, and we were already having a rough one.
Wild.
And then she goes, "Oh my God!"
No, we were in the middle of the table read. This is the final thing. They've got people watching us. It's like, this is it. It was right before the holidays, and I looked down and I go, "Oh my God,
I'm blowing up.
My comments got out.
I'm blowing up." I go. Finally, we get ourselves on the map. She goes, "Not in a good way."
Oh God, I was crying. It was so.
I'm sorry.
You know what?
That was my fault.
It's not your fault at
I'm
all.
laughing, but I don't mean
any
to
level
smile.
is that your fault. But it's interesting because our podcast, it's all things like Bravo and Real Housewives, and Danny, we're used to making fun, but in a way where we have love for these people. We really do have love and varying degrees of respect for them, and so. I don't know, but I've never talked about actors or anything. And I felt comfortable with you as I always do. And I'm sure I'll do it again today,
Yeah.
So no one's safe.
And I love a deep cut, nothing more. I mean, I love going into someone's IMDb page. And Jessica, you haven't been on the show before. So I, of course, went to your IMDb page, and I was going to get to it later to just go through some of your weirder credits because
and there are a lot.
I live for a weird credit. It was like I was sitting here just looking at your page, and I'm thinking, God, do I ask about like College Road Trip with Martin Lawrence?
I was just about to bring that up.
Like, what do I ask about?
College Road Trip was so wild. First of all, I just recently on a plane, as in yesterday. So you're getting like the worst
Fresh.
of me. You're getting the worst of me. But I indulged myself in 2 episodes of Martin, which absolutely holds up. Like you would not believe.
Martin.
And then
So
I
good.
watched the History Channel Ancient Aliens because Casey in our
What a double
book,
feature.
I was just going to say, not too much difference either, really.
And then she watched, just tell Danny what you saw for the first time.
Okay, wait. But first of all, the
He's
reason I
gonna
watched Ancient Aliens is because Casey had an Uber ride, and because she loves small talk so much, she clicks conversation preferred, which means she's a genuine psychopath.
Mhm.
And one of her Uber drivers was really big on that aliens are walking amongst us and that they built the pyramids. And then Casey got obsessed with Ancient Aliens, and now I'm convinced. So I'm texting Casey on the plane. I'm texting her. They did build them. How did they get those?
Michelangelo
stones?
is one.
Yeah, I go, they were a power center for an ancient civilization.
Mhm.
So at any rate, but then I watched the first episode ever of Southern Charm.
Wow.
Danny,
Wow, what a
she'd
history
never
lesson.
seen it.
Wait, so tell me everything.
Talk about Ancient Aliens.
I need a detailed description of every feeling you felt.
Okay,
She
so
watched a recent one, just to say. So she doesn't know the Ravenel history. She doesn't know all that. Go on.
I jumped right in, and I remember now I'm not a fan of these shows, and my best friends are, and I do listen to Garbage Sesh because I love to hear them talk, and even though they're talking about people I don't know, it still entertains me.
And comforting.
And it's comforting. It's like hearing my aunties talk, around a fire, like my ancestors. And so Casey had mentioned very long ago, you'd really like Southern Charm. And now I realize it's because I could be on Southern Charm.
In another world, sliding doors, you are in
Okay.
Charleston.
You're
I
right there with
am-
Madison and Craig. You're at the sewing down. You're sewing down south.
I
Yeah,
mean,
like-
she's a little more like I would be with Whitney and the mom, but yes.
Oh,
I could, just like aliens may be walking amongst us, I could insert myself in a Southern Charm, and I think I could do quite well there. But
interesting.
I was so wrapped up in it was the one where at Madison's post-wedding party, when Taylor, is it the one that's been cheated on so many times, when she's like going to see her ex for the first time, and it's so nerve-wracking, and then she fucking goes from 0 to 100 and goes nuts on who's the best friend, the dark-haired best friend. And she's like, you abandoned me. And
It's hard to hear you say cheated on by her ex, who, as we know him, is the star of the show, named Shep.
Okay, Shep. So did Shep
I hate
really?
Shep, but
I
yes.
hate
Okay.
Shep.
I know.
I
Okay.
hate
What a
Shep.
bloated, red-faced alcoholic mess.
What was interesting about Shep is that,
And I'm sorry, Danny, we're not answering one question.
No, I
It's
know,
okay.
but what I
know
wanted
that
to
this
just
is going to circle back to College Road Trip. I feel
Is
it in my
it?
heart.
It will,
I
it
hope
will,
so.
it will.
I feel it.
Is
I
it?
feel it.
What I wanted to drill down on though is that Shep is like in the corner taking no flack, and she's taking it out on his best friend,
Craig.
who was like, why didn't you tell me? Like, you abandoned me. And then he's just like, so here's my question. He said to her, like,
who's he? Give us a
Craig.
more
Craig said to Taylor, is it, who got cheated on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Craig
I get Taylor and Olivia mixed up, so I'm sorry if we
Yeah.
might be mixing that up. But
Craig
and people will
says-
yell at us, I'm sure.
Craig says to Taylor, like, I'm the one who stopped Shep from fucking that girl. Like, you should be thanking me, basically. And then she says on the way out, she says, and your girl cheated on you. And now I've become very, very obsessed with Paige because I think Casey is Paige in disguise.
Oh. Wait.
Big disguise. Somehow.
What was this?
That-
What is
I
this
don't
graphic
know.
that just came
There's
on screen? When
something happening on my Zoom where if I do a thumbs up, it like puts it in a bubble. But that's the universe and the aliens walking amongst us saying, "Thank you, Jess." I don't hold it. Candle
are
to Paige.
Paige. No,
She is
you're
my
Paige.
everything.
You have big Paige energy.
Big
And
Paige
so
is right. I am a big
Did Paige cheat?
bigger
did,
Paige.
Did Paige cheat on Craig?
No, I don't think so.
I
Do you
don't
think
believe
they'll
that.
make it though, Casey? Do you think
I'm
Craig
very
and Paige
concerned.
will make
It's
it?
so hard. I do actually, but I'll
I'm
say I'm
starting
going
to.
back into the text with Summer House myself. So I did the classic watch of Summer House, which is season 8, season 6, season 4, season 7, season 2, season 1. It's a very different order. And I'll tell you, when I'm seeing Paige with Andrea, I hadn't met him, the Italian stallion, little shorty prince who comes in the middle. I'm like, wow, she does seem to have something going with him too. But I think she loves Craig and I think Craig loves her.
Right.
Yeah, but where are they going to end
Where
up?
are they going to
Because
live?
if
That's
Danny-
the big problem. Yeah.
What
do
I'm
they do?
worried
When you have a
about-
sewing shop, a brick and mortar, not many people have pillows they can sell.
What I'm worried about is that Paige is not going to gel with these girls. They have it out, and she
Doesn't.
She's been keeping her counsel. She's been withdrawing.
Yeah.
And just seeing Craig when she's down there. And I don't know if she should be a full-time part of that society, of that Charleston
You know what,
society.
Jessica, your heart is spot on with this because, I think Paige does struggle because she doesn't really fit in with that. And the interesting thing about like the Summer House world to me is I think they're on a little bit shakier ground with their jobs than maybe Southern Charm is because it's just like they go in for the weekend. And so I think there is this sort of thing amongst the Summer House cast of like, well, if I were to leave for just a month or something, like I'll be fucked. They will get rid of me in
even
an
one
instant.
Friday, I try to go to a wedding,
Right. If I don't have a
reception.
nervous breakdown in a shower, like
You're out of there. You're out of
what
that
I
house.
love about Summer House is they try not to break the fourth wall with that one where Lindsay is crying at Carl. She's like, "You don't work, you don't check me, no job." And then you can see the look on his face. He's like a deer in headlights. He wants to go, "Bitch, I have the same job as you. We're doing it now." Like
Lately, there's been so much weird unspoken stuff going on these shows where it's like it's all about the behind the scenes, and they're kind of breaking the fourth walls a little bit, but not enough because it's like everything is about what's happening behind the scenes.
I don't get enough Paige. I want to go home with Paige. I want to brush
feel
my
the same
teeth
way.
with Paige. I
Me
just want a
too.
camera on Paige, like a running thing that I can just watch at my leisure at night and check in on her.
I wish Paige, I wish we were Paige. I
People
feel
get
like
mad at me because I think also Paige could be like a good actress or actor. Like I think she's got like an it
Absolutely. Who would
factor
be
on
mad?
camera. Like
She has it.
she's
and
captivating.
I keep saying I think she'd almost be better in like a scripted-y thing because sometimes she gets a little
Sky's
lost.
the limit for her,
She
and that's
doesn't have a
just the
lot of
truth.
drama going on. You
If
know,
people are mad at that, then they need to take a look at themselves because sky's the limit there.
And
I want
need
her
to
in a
just say-
Hallmark Christmas movie or like a
Yes,
Lifetime
Danny,
thing.
with like
Yeah.
a little white muff, kind of a white Christmas
Yeah,
moment
like
for
this,
her,
where you hold
and
it like this.
Exactly.
And I
Holly
will say,
Golightly vibes. Yeah.
I will say this, and I know, believe me, I've only watched. Like
Are we going to
4
get back to
episodes. We are.
your IMDb?
But I will say that
she's
Paige
a master. I think we'll circle back to it at the right time.
Paige does very subtle work where, like, when Craig says to her, "I love this part of the pool because it's like a shallow," and she says, "That's for kids," and she goes, "That's for sunbathing." And in that one line, she's communicating to Craig, "Do not push me. I'm not ready for marriage and I'm not ready for kids."
Wow, Jess.
But she's doing this very subtle, almost like Meryl Streep level kind of performances.
See,
where
Craig
there
to
are
me
the
does
lines
not
and
fit
they're-
in on Summer House, and Paige doesn't fit in
Right.
on Southern Charm. So what do we do? Where do we
keep-
move? Where do we
Yeah.
go from here?
And it will take, I think,
I hope
one
to
of
the
the
altar.
shows, one of the shows will have to fire one of them, I think, for the relationship to either go forward or completely end. But
They're not gonna
otherwise,
fire
we're
them.
just
Every
gonna,
day I text Andy Cohen and I'm like attracted to them both. I want to sleep with them both. He's like, please, like, okay, I heard
Why
you.
are you telling? If anything, you will be canceled because of your
100%.
aggressive
I
sexual
want
text.
to have relations with both of them equally, and no one's reached out. But
and wait, so who do you think, just purely on a physical level, Jessica, maybe you could just answer for just Southern Charm or any of the shows, but
would
in
I
general,
fuck on
also
Southern
Casey, like who do you think are the best looking people on the network? Just physically.
on the network.
On the network. Let's say the network. Let's open it up here.
Well,
Like
Dolores
just physically.
Dolo is at the top of my list, just on Jersey, obviously.
Stunning.
Paige, Sierra, forget it. Sierra. Honestly, I'm so attracted to West as well.
Me too.
And Jesse. Honestly, the crew this year is very hot. I used to think Carl was like a big old lummox, but I'm coming back around on it.
Oh, he doesn't do it for me. Nothing for me. Like almost nothing. To me, it's like no, I get no sexual
Danny,
energy. No sex.
If you go back, and unfortunately, I hate to say this, back when he was not sober, you'll get your juices flowing a little.
Okay. So I just need to go back.
And I want him to stay on the wagon very
unhinged.
much.
You love an unhinged.
I want a wild look in someone's eye.
We
on
had
Bravo.
a moment in the bathroom yesterday. Casey was getting dressed for a show. Can I tell people what I said to you? It's not nice.
No.
Okay, well, I'm going to say it.
You'll tell us, right?
So we were getting dressed and we were going over.
This is so inappropriate.
And again, we have ADHD. So like we had a live show, but we lost our note card. So we didn't really know what we were going to say. And we had to get changed because we were late. And anyway, this is just a side moment, but Casey took her top off and she said, "Oh God, I really feel like I need to get my boobs done." And I said, "You do."
She said, "You must."
Put that
What?
number one on your
No, you
list.
do not. You look fantastic.
Danny, this
You
is
look
how
perfect.
a friend speaks to me and she goes, would you prefer I be honest? I'm like, no, I prefer not. And then she goes, add it to your list. I go, I don't have a list of body parts to change.
Then I
Thank
go,
you. She
put
goes,
it
well, it needs to go to
number
the top.
God. Wait, not to sidetrack us, but I keep seeing I don't know if I like clicked on a thing or something, but I keep seeing now the upper and lower bleph on the eyes. Have you seen? I feel like all the celebrities are getting them now. People were speculating. It's called like an upper. People were speculating Ben Affleck
that's when
did
people
it.
get. Oh, it's so scary with
It's
the,
like I don't know that he did it, but it's like something
thread?
they like cut upper and lower by your eye and like fold it or something.
Oh,
but everyone's
God.
doing it now, and I'm like, wait a minute, do I need to learn about this? Like,
We do.
The biggest bang for your plastic surgery buck. And I've got that on great authority.
Is what?
Is
Cutting
like
your eyelid?
doing your eyes.
The eyes.
Because they're the window to the soul. No, I think it can make you look refreshed.
I agree with that. And I remember Betty White got it done at like 40 and then like another thing at 50, another thing at 60. And she lived till she was like 100. So anyway, I don't want to start a GoFundMe for Casey to get her boobs done, but I'm not saying I wouldn't accept donations. Then what did I say?
You do whatever you want to do with your body. It's your body. You do what you like and what makes you happy.
And by the way, mine are holding up more than others I've seen.
You look amazing.
Just
Wait, we
kidding.
have to go back to College Road Trip because people are going to be like, we need this.
Jessica,
we need
please
the answer.
address College Road Trip.
Okay,
it's like an itch we all need scratched.
It's not the greatest story, but Martin Lawrence. So I just played, I don't know what I was. Maybe I was a hotel employee. I don't know what it was, but it was my first job on a feature film. And it was with That's So Raven. She was the star. And it was very late. And Martin came in and he came in with quite an entourage. So he travels with a big group of people. And they came on and somebody said, Mr. Lawrence is going to come over and say hello. And he came over. He was very polite. And then he came on the screen. Now, I do have a story about Eddie Murphy that I tell in the book, and I can tell you that one as well, because it's actually quite similar. When the camera turns on these two gentlemen, okay, electricity, they are
like Paige and Craig.
Okay, they're on. It's like big Paige energy. And so he's Martin and he's fucking going off the script. And I'm like, okay, let's play. I'm an improviser. Wonderful. We're nothing is the script. Okay. Then he ends his coverage. He goes away. They bring in a stand-in who, for some reason, was a
Careful, Jess. This is a similar story to the one I told Danny on my podcast. Go on.
He's a very diminutive man. Looks nothing like him, and it's not even the double.
Okay.
And now the director has written down all the improvs that Martin did, and has to have he's yelling them out from another room, and the diminutive man is going like this. So
Just mouthing.
So
the
he's
voice
trying
is
to
coming
do the
like
improv.
a Muppet. He's like, but he's not, no voice is coming out of this man's mouth. It's coming from another room, and he's going like a Muppet. And it was so just disorienting. But, I'm a professional. I had to do it. But the other thing I'll say about Eddie Murphy is that I believe I was playing a hotel clerk in the pilot of Lethal Weapon. And Eddie Murphy has a stand-in.
You've played so many hotel clerks.
I really have. It's like my wheelhouse. But Eddie Murphy
You play like the comedic version in White Lotus 2 of the woman that ran the hotel.
Yeah, but just not
But let
as
me tell you
well paid.
something. When you're coming in that scene, we are on the edge of our seat, about to have the best fucking time. Like,
The
I
best
know that
check-in of our
if I
lives.
see you coming in, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have a laugh right fucking now.
Because I'm going to make a little something
We are
out
gonna
of
find a laugh here. We are getting a laugh, whether we're
We'll
watching
find it.
fucking
We'll pan him
College
for
Road
gold.
Trip or Life as We Know It with Katie Heigl. We're getting that laugh
Another
from
good
Jessica
one.
St. Clair.
Another good one. But Eddie Murphy, and we talk about this in the book because this was sort of a mistaken, this wasn't great small talk. This was a fail. But he has a stand-in who looks exactly like him, like a double. I mean, when you meet him, you think he's Eddie Murphy. So I think during the rehearsal, I'm rehearsing with Eddie Murphy. But then I see in the corner of my eye, fake Eddie Murphy in the corner, in the shadows, peeking, watching. Okay.
Was that real Eddie or fake Eddie peeking?
That was real Eddie. He was peeking and watching.
Wanted to see how it was going.
So he doesn't bring his juice until it's time to roll. Again, he comes on. He brings big Martin energy. He lights up the screen. There's a reason he was a superstar. Okay. And I'm with real Eddie Murphy. Now, we're traveling back to set. And I think I'm in the car with fake Eddie Murphy because I'm thinking there's no way real Eddie Murphy is getting in the van, the passenger van.
Right. If he's not doing his coverage with you, he's definitely not riding with civilians.
So it's me.
He was just lurking and waiting for his van.
In a Ford
when he
Expedition.
was watching,
it's not happening.
That's right. So it's a big white passenger van, and I've got fake Eddie Murphy, I think. And I take a call from my OBGYN about a very persistent yeast infection I had and different creams that weren't working. And so I'm talking to her about, this and that and what level of redness we're at and discomfort and itching. And
fake Eddie's just nodding along.
And when we get out, I realize it's not fake Eddie. It's real Eddie. And Eddie has heard everything.
I'm sure he's been there before.
Yeah, if he had $1 for every hotel clerk that was itching up a storm down there.
Not to bring us back full circle, but I think Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence's kids are engaged to be wed or already are wed. I swear to God.
Danny,
I swear to God. Yeah, it's
what
like
are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Do
sure.
you
I'm not
think at
making
the rehearsal for the wedding, the fake Eddie and the fake Martin will be standing?
The stand-ins are there. Yeah, because they're and they or maybe they're flying them in, the real ones in for the reception. Like they're not making it to the
bless them. They deserve.
I love that.
But imagine
that's
being
so cute.
fake Eddie Murphy. That was a great small talk I was having with him because I'm like, what is it like to spend your whole career as fake Eddie Murphy? He says been lovely, but I'm telling you, he looks like the Doublemint twins. He looks exactly like him. But imagine what it's like to go through life as not Eddie Murphy.
Do you think
a fascinating story?
Do you think being at that level, those kind of an A-lister like an Eddie Murphy, are they better at small talk or are they worse at small talk?
Better.
Better.
You don't get to. I don't think you don't get to that level. You don't get on camera, period. I think if you don't have some charm, but you're not Eddie Murphy unless you are the most charming person for miles and miles around you. That's why when love him or hate him, obviously, but like if Tom Cruise focuses his energy on you, it is like the sun blinding your.
Wait, have you either of you had his energy? Because I've heard that with him.
No, but our friend Danielle has, and she said she was holding a purse that she managed to bobble in her arms, like like when she saw him, because she said he happened to turn to her, and that person. She said she went weak, kicked a shoe off, like it was just she was so not prepared for that. Like when that light focuses
and
on
those
you.
eyes. And you know what I heard? I did hear a story about Tom where basically, if he hears that you like something, like he's so nice to his crew, but like there's an actor.
He's just not nice to the Sea Org.
Yeah, exactly. But someone had said, "Oh, Tom, I like your Mont Blanc pen." You know, this was an actor. And when the next day gets to his trailer and there
Mont Blanc is there.
A Mont Blanc.
Mr. It's waiting for him.
Yeah, and it said like, "Go write your dreams" or something like that. Like,
I have a girlfriend that works with him and mentioned, you know, she likes shoes, which, you know, just chatting, conversation, Louboutins, I think. Next thing she knows, and it's not like she's married with kids, you know, she arrives and there's like out of like Pretty Woman, like 20 pairs of Louboutins, all, you know, every size, every color, all her, like heaven.
Right. I've heard stories about that coconut cake he gives people, the Doan's coconut cake. And it's like, I just want to be on that list. Like, I want to get that coconut
I'm
cake.
getting on it after that Sea Org comment.
Can I ask you, marry, fuck, or kill? Old Tom Cruise, young Tom Cruise. That's it. I don't have another one. But
to
who
me,
would you
like,
rather have sex with, old or
young
Tom Cruise?
A Jerry Maguire Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah, is that like our middle Tom?
Middle ground probably is
middle
Jerry
Tom.
Maguire.
That's right.
Business
middle
Tom. Rain Man Tom is one category.
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire Tom is middle.
Or Top Gun, the new Top Gun Maverick Tom.
I love like a Minority Report Tom Cruise or Jerry Maguire. Or, you know, like Jerry Maguire to me is like the peak of, it's actually
of Tom.
One of my all-time favorite movies.
Like
of anything.
Tom. You know, kind of doing his character actor work.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's quite funny.
Oh,
I would like him to get back to like doing things that aren't Mission Impossible. Like I want to see
who I want to be funny too is Ben Affleck. He's so fucking funny.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes I think these actors, they're in all these great things and they're doing all these fun. He's so funny. Like in Good Will Hunting.
Yeah. Pair him up with Paige. Pair him up with Paige for a lifetime.
Ben
comedy.
Affleck, Paige vehicle, and Jessica and I will both be two gals working at the hotel, checking them in.
Love it. Wait, speaking of A-listers though, you know, I've not that I've had a million A-listers on this podcast, but I've interviewed a lot of celebrities and I feel like I've learned different things about small talk. I know your audiobook's all about small talk. And I remember like from Katie Couric, as I was interviewing her, she kept like saying my name and she didn't really know me or anything, like, you know, but it was a little like verbal cue.
But she could flick her eyes down to the bottom of the Zoom and see Danny.
And I feel like it made such a difference because she would say it. And I was like, oh my God, Katie Couric knows my name. And I feel like A-listers like Tom or, you know, some of those people,
they're
such a little trick.
You know, I wish we had put that in the books.
So many things
you know, it's an audiobook. I guess we could go back, but that is a really good one. Eye contact is huge.
Even a hand on the arm, obviously like a nice warm hand on the arm. I think it really connects people. We think a touch can be small talk, a roll of the eyes.
Well, and
look.
You say in the book how it can be so helpful. And that was like an aha moment to me too, of like when you go to a place making small talk, because usually when I go to like a coffee shop or a bakery or something, I always will say, what do you like the best? Like and maybe that's annoying for some people, but I always like want to know, like, what do you think? What is the best pastry?
That's wonderful.
What you're doing there, Danny, is
one
a
of our
very simple rule called place your mark in a position of power. Basically, people love to talk about themselves and they love to be experts at things. And everybody, even the most boring person, is an expert at something. And once you find it, whether that's what crumb cake is the best or bird watching or housewives or whatever it is, all you have to do is ask them questions about it, get them talking. And then you've got hours of small talk. And actually, you usually walk away with valuable information. I want people to understand Casey and I are not this charitable, you know, generous. We're not like, that's not why we do it.
Wondering that.
I mean, I just told you get your tits done. And I mean that. And I hope some of the proceeds of the book go towards that fund. You know,
literally, you and I have spent every penny on like.
Yeah, if we could advertise it. But you get something out of small talk and so do they. But
dopamine hit.
So it's a dopamine hit and also information that you may need. Who knows when you might need that information.
Also, as you point out, you can also kind of get physical things sometimes. Like if you're in a store, you can get a discount on something if you're making, or if you need a return. I always think of returns. Just recently, I had to return something, I think at Bloomingdale's or Macy's or wherever. And it was past the return expiration, but like kind of chatting with the guy. And he was like, oh, you know, we'll make an exception. But I feel like if I didn't make small talk with him, if I just went in and say, I need to return this, he would look at the receipt, say it's
and if you
past
don't
90
make small
days.
Talk, they're not going to go back and dig around for that extra size that they they say they don't have.
They don't
No,
give
and
a- yeah.
Casey even has gotten some extra baggage on. She's arriving at the
Forget it.
at
I'm
the
always
airport
having
left.
an overage bag charge waived with
That's
a
right.
simple, hot enough out there.
Yeah, or even saying this is another one of our rules, which is really to denigrate yourself. So
That's
a
right.
wonderful way to kind of put your mark in a position of power is to go, I am a mess. So if you're rolling up to the airport, you
I
go,
am so upset I'm late. I look like I crawled out of a pile of dead leaves. Here I have too many clothes. Clearly, I should have been wearing something better here. So I don't know why they're all in the bag.
Right. So what's wrong with me?
Yeah,
Something
help
I am
me,
mentally
help me.
unwell. I'm mentally unwell, and I know that I should be charged this. So please go ahead and charge. And then they're like, you know what? I feel bad for this person.
And
or
now we have a hand on the arm. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
thank you so
and we
much.
all feel good after that interaction.
Right. Right.
That's right. And you didn't get to pay. You didn't have to pay that fee.
Is it true that asking someone for like a favor can make them warm up to you, like a minute favor, like holding my bag for me or something? I just was reading that, like,
wow, I don't
if
know
you ask
about
someone
that.
for like a small, the most minuscule thing you could think of, but like by asking them for a favor, it sort of creates a dialogue, and then it gives trust
Yeah,
between the
can
two
you
of
Or
them.
hold-
give
can you
someone to
hold
feel
my
good about
place?
them something good that they've done.
And
That's right.
you've entrusted with them something, so
interesting.
all of a sudden now you have a relationship.
Yeah.
I
essentially.
love it personally when someone says, I'm going to the bathroom. Would you
Yeah,
mind
watch
keeping an
my
eye on
bag.
my computer?
Now, in a
Because
post 9/11 world, sometimes one guy was like, I'm gone. I never saw him again. And I was like, am I
left
dragging
his
these bags
computer
to
there.
Minnesota? What am I doing here? But it did feel good to be entrusted since I'm entrusted with nothing in my own life.
yeah, I think that we want so desperately to feel that we are in a neighborhood because
Yes.
our boss, and this is a shock to so many people.
Yeah,
that
brace yourselves, everyone.
that Malcolm Gladwell, almost
our
Pulitzer
book.
Prize winning author is our boss. But
And we
he
did our
said-
research on TikTok, and that was
Yeah,
hard for him to accept.
We did.
Did he have any big problems with anything you submitted or?
I don't
Most
think he-
likely all.
he
Mainly
heard
the
it.
interview we did with him where we were woefully underprepared. I prepared more for this.
Oh my God. I interviewed him once and I was so nervous because he's so smart. I felt such
So
a
smart.
dummy.
Right?
He's so smart. And
And he's comfortable to sit in a silence, which is what silences are, I think, why a lot of us are afraid of small talk. We're always like, it's coming. There's going to be this awkward silence. And we're almost running from connecting with people based on the idea of this awkward silence. But when you're with someone as brilliant as him, you're going to have to get real comfortable with that silence as their brain moves at a warp speed while you're sitting there shaking and sweating, going, they hate me.
Yeah.
Right.
And silence, he said that one of the biggest hits to small talk was smoking, was the ban on smoking.
Yeah.
Because that gave you a natural pause and a time to look around your environment, take a minute, think what you're
Meet
going to
new
say.
people.
Meet new
And
people.
you know it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's going to be over in 3 minutes. So
Right.
you're
And then
not
you're back
going,
in.
I'm trapped on this airplane with someone. And it was like
Right.
a nice way to connect.
I always-
Unfortunately,
yeah.
it also killed people,
Reality TV, I think, I don't know if I could speak for all of us, but that is also so helpful. I
Great
feel
area.
when I'm out and about, or
It's
pop
the
culture in
best.
general. It's like,
Yes.
I love when somebody comes up to me and is like, I watch, I don't know, Housewives or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, who's your favorite housewife? And then we're off to the races. And then I'm not
Because you
getting
have
to
the
my
same
next
collective
location.
bank of
Yeah.
memories of our weird aunts. Like we all have the same family video, almost like home videos running. It is such a shared language that you can just shout across the airport to some people yell to me. They're like, why did Dorinda get off a
Yeah, yeah.
pause? And I'll be like, she deserved it. And next thing, and then that's it. And that's a beautiful, I feel great
know.
after that.
You know
I
what's
even
a
kind
great
of love
one?
it when someone yells at me about an opinion. I don't like it when it happens on the internet, but like if somebody sees me in person, it's like,
course.
how dare you said that about that person or something. I
like that.
love it. You
Because
can have
Danielle
like a little
Schneider always
tete-a-tete.
says, my partner, she's like, it's something we can fight about that has no stakes. And so you can have these passionate opinions, but ultimately they mean nothing. And
Yeah.
no one's taking offense to anything because we don't know these people, these beautiful unicorns,
That's right. And I love, because I'm not as much of a housewives person, although I may be now a Southern Charm person, is Travis and Taylor. That's a fun one right now because everybody knows about them and has an opinion about, are they getting engaged? Do you Google them obsessively? How do you feel about it?
When he pushed that coach. Yeah.
And demographically pretty universal because I feel like the straights know Travis, the gays and women,
The old dads
everybody.
know Travis now. Like we're really bringing in people.
Right.
They are a wonderful connector. They really are a wonderful connector.
Okay, I'm going to let you go soon because I know I have to let you go. But I did have, speaking of these things, I had different conversation starters that I wanted to throw out at the both of you because these are sort of pop culture things. And so Ben and Jennifer Lopez, do we think they're going to make it?
This is a great one. And I've had about 50 conversations.
I've dreamt about it as I'm brushing my teeth. I'm like staring out a window like,
Well, first of all, the narrative that I think everybody's pushing right now, and I don't know who's responsible for it, is that it's not Ben's fault. It's that Jen has become too controlling. And so I really struggle with that. Is that true? Is that a narrative his people are putting out? I don't know. I certainly think that it has to do with him not wanting to be in the spotlight as much as Jen needs to be for his, but
he wants to be picking up his McDonald's in the drive-through line and have his iced coffee Dunkin' Donuts
and not have people looking at it. But I
want him to have that.
If you want to go deeper on that, because I think you can start with Ben and Jen, and then you can go to, have you ever hooked back up with somebody who was a former flame? And
great, Jess. See, that's a beautiful small talk. We go shallow, to go deep is another rule.
Wonderful. Danny. Give us another one, Danny, and I'm going to show you. Let's go. Let's try to do shallow to deep on.
Do you want a hard one or an easy one?
Well, we're self-appointed masters. Let's do a hard one.
All right, let's do JoJo Siwa. Do you know JoJo Siwa?
Of course,
have you been following?
Danny, I'm currently watching Dance Moms with my 6-year-old and my 8-year-old. Now I'm a terrible mother. From the beginning. I will tell you, Danny, 2 nights ago, my 6-year-old was like, "Here come the candy apples again." He's like, "Oh God, hit her with a perth."
Kathy and the candy apples.
I am in heaven. Again, it actually makes me a better mom because they're like, "Oh, she's not that bad."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I think that's important for reality TV because when it becomes too sanitized, and of course we don't want to platform a bunch of terrible monsters, but also I think as viewers, we need to better recognize like that's bad behavior. Like when I watched Dance Moms as when I was younger and it was airing, I didn't look at it and think like, that's how I'm supposed to act. I looked at it like, that's how you're not supposed to be in charge of kids.
My kids are like, they scream. They cannot believe an adult is speaking to children this way. They're on the kids' sides. They also like the dancing. Again, I'm a terrible mom. I'm not trying to dress this up.
No, I don't think so. I think that's a learning lesson.
We laugh. We go, "Oh my God, the poor kids, justice for Nia. Where's Dr. Holly? They want her to be their mom." We just love it so much. And then occasionally we will turn to each other in the darkness of the room and go, "I think Abby's right on that one." Very occasionally. But when it happens, God, we've never been closer.
You've been more bonded. And in
terms of JoJo Siwa, I would say, wow, she started off in Dance Moms. She was so cute. Don't we think she can have an evolution? She's got the bows going on. Seems like her mom is still friends with Abby. What do you think about that? Would you put your kid this is my question I would want to ask everyone. Would you put your kid on Dance Moms knowing what you know, how abusive Abby was? But on the other hand, the moms have like 5 million followers. What would you do?
Yeah.
Where's the line with your kids? They want to dance. Would you let them dance?
I love that.
Well, and I also think the show, and this might not be popular with listeners either, but I think it was a peek behind the curtain of what that industry is like and creating stars. And I think creating young stars, I don't think that young people should be stars in general, but I think in order to create that level of star, they have to have like a lot of discipline and stuff. Like, again, I don't think that they should. I just think like, you don't create these big stars like that.
Look, as Abby says, save those tears for the pillow.
We're going to hell.
She's a monster, absolute monster. But the show is so raw and it's a classic. It's a classic. It kicked off the genre in many ways.
And JoJo, I just saw a video where she was drunk at Disney for her 21st birthday. And that was tough to see. But we've all been drunk on our 21st birthday.
Yes.
We're not doing it for the world.
Her 21st birthday.
But she's not hurting anyone. What a sweetheart.
I really like when somebody, now I didn't follow the JoJo Siwa situation, but you know what's great to know, and this is a great tip, I don't have to know. Right. I can ask. Casey told me the entire plot of Scandival on a 6-hour flight, and I was riveted. Yeah. You don't have to know. You can just ask questions. You guys can become the experts on JoJo.
Should you go into a conversation if somebody brings up something you don't know? Do you recommend pretending to know or just asking?
Rules is lie.
Yeah, but can I before you get into that, I would just say that one of our friends' mothers, who's like was an expert at small talk, her favorite phrase was "Tell me everything." So that's
me
one way
everything.
you can go. I don't know her. Tell
Now,
me everything.
you might say, tell me everything on an airplane. But if we're just, we're casually, I'm talking to someone in line at the DMV and I know this is a quickie and they say, oh my God, did you see JoJo Siwa? And you haven't, you just go, tell me about it.
Right.
Right.
Because commiserating, finding a common enemy, these are other ways of bonding. So you just go, what was happening? Now you might not know. Who cares? You'll never see these people again. Just
that was
lie.
wild, right?
And
then
lie
you
to connect.
Yeah.
And one of the hallmarks of my people, the gay community, is really just one word in a situation like that at the DMV. You just kind of lower whatever glasses you're wearing and you say, girl, girl.
Gorgeous. Girl. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous piece of advice for small
girl
talk.
Can mean anything. It can mean
Danny.
you need to change your outfit. It means I agree with you. It means I support you. It means I'm uplifting you. It means you need to get that boob job. It means a million things.
It means everything.
Thank you, Danny, for coming out and publically saying that. Girl. I really do appreciate your support, girl.
It means everything.
Okay, before we started coming here, I was listening to you guys have a Happy Endings podcast, Casey, and I ask you every time you're on, when are we need the reboot? I know you guys did the Zoom thing,
and I always have the most boring answer, which is they have and are trying, but it sounds so horrible to hear this, but like everyone's at different studios, like the producers. It's the most boring answer, but it is
percentage-wise, how likely are we to get it?
I think 80%. I would hope. I do, but I'm an optimist. I'm sure. Maybe my husband would say 1%. I don't know. I think so. But Adam McCallie and I did a podcast. It is, Adam and I, we don't have an eye for details. Let's just put it that way. But we had a lot of fun and we interviewed everybody and it's a wild ride. But
it's the best show. It's the best show. And you know that, but I hope you know that. It's just the funniest fucking show that is so comforting to so many of us. Like that people who love happy endings. I think the reason why it still sort of lives on is because it's so comforting to us who loved it. And so, we all hope, I think, that it happens.
I do
too. So just do it.
Do you want to see?
We do, Casey.
Do you want to see me as a 29-year-old now?
I sure do. I would love to see at any age the group of you hanging out in any capacity, whether a movie, series, anything. You all are fucking funny. So just get together and be funny for us.
And
because
I
that's
think
what we need.
one episode's fee might get us what I'm talking about up here.
Right. Is uplift the audience and uplift my bosoms, my low bosom.
Right. Do you think it would be on a network or do you think it would be like a streaming thing?
I hope it's
I'll do it on a YouTube,
She'll film it in her basement.
Jessica, anything you want to tell me about Katherine Heigl? Oh, I love Katherine Heigl. And you did Life as We Know It, right?
And she could not have been more lovely. And she just adopted, I think, her second child. She was an absolute love. Josh, how do I say it? Duhamel? I mean,
wow, that man is attractive. Too attractive.
When he picked up a baby, ovaries started releasing eggs at such a rapid rate.
Sure.
He is one of the most attractive, nicest guy. But yes, I loved Katherine Heigl. I love that movie, actually. If you could believe Melissa McCarthy plays like a bit part. She had like 3 lines in that movie. And it was just so much fun. And we were trapped in Atlanta for about 3 months doing that. And we kept going to the restaurant Seasons 52, which is a place where all the calories are like 52 calories or something. It was so fucking weird. Anyway, but yes, I loved Katherine Heigl.
I always feel like I need to give Katherine Heigl some love because she took so much shit around that time for everything she said. And then I think looking back on it, she was right about a lot of the things that she said and did. Maybe not everything.
It was a different time.
It was a different time.
If she was saying it now, who knows what the reaction would have been.
She said about Knocked Up that it was a little bit, the female characters were written a little bit poorly. And she was right. If you go back and watch Knocked Up, she was right. Anyway. Okay. I love you both. Thank you so much for coming. Your new audiobook is called The Art of Small Talk. It's so good. I only got to the first 5 chapters, but I'm loving it so far.
Please.
Don't worry. There's only 8 hours more.
Yeah, it's self-help, it's comedy, it's really fun, and small talk can extend your life, and that's the point of our book. And so we were so happy that we got to chat with you, and thank you for having us.
Yeah, and there's a little appearance by me in the book, not audio-wise, but there's a little cameo.
Oh, there
is. And so as I say goodbye,
you're a master. We didn't give you your due. You're a master. This is what you do fully for your job, and there's a reason so many people love listening to you.
It's true.
Jenny.
Because
you're
why
so
I'll
warm, you're so good at it.
He's authentic. That's one of our biggest rules is, again, lie. If you're going to be fact checking this book, we're really not interested. Okay.
Not interested.
Most of our research came from TikTok, but you are very authentic. And that's what people love about you. And you connect.
Thank you.
And you're a fan of things in a really beautiful way.
Yeah.
But also the audiobook is surprising, I think, to people. If they're maybe on the fence about it, it is. I feel like so far I've learned a lot, but I've also found it really funny and interesting. So it kind of hits all those things. And I didn't really know what to expect, to just be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
And I started listening to it. Yeah, I was like,
it's a comedy.
I'm like, what's this audiobook about small talk? And then I started listening to it and I was like, oh, this is so fucking good. So I hope people really give it a shot because it really is great.
Thank you, Danny.
And I think it will be surprising to people. So finally, as I say goodbye, Casey, any other horrible things you want to say about Tim Allen?
I think
you said it all.
I'm going to just give a salute and
tip your hat.
So you'll be back for the next season of the Santa Clauses.
Absolutely.
Listen, if Casey's not available, I'd love to throw my hat in the ring.
What if they come back and they replace your character with Jessica?
By the way, it's great. I love every single writer on that show and director and creator. So Jessica and I are tech avail.
All right. I love you. Everyone pick up the audiobook. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love you, Danny.
Thank you, Danny. That was so nice.